Well, hello. Well, there's something I gotta say. Opening my third eye these past, I don't know, 3 weeks, I'm getting this type of clarity, this kind of open mindedness. Let's start when I'm meditating. That's doing this in my hara. Hara is right here below the belly button. So where I'm meditating, I have this kind of the need of the mind to control stage that I kind of bypass by playing a trick on myself. And so the technique on YouTube is to focus only on breathing. And gradually the breathing becomes shallower until the breath does not go all the way from the lungs to the stomach, backs up, and the breath is just here, and then I feel it right here. Focusing but on perceiving the breath automatically triggers my control of the breath. So I try to focus myself on perceiving the breath, and I miss it. I begin breathing on purpose, consciously breathing. That kind of blows the whole point out of the window. So what I'm doing is I am focusing on the five senses. I'm focusing on sound. I'm focusing on sense, like touch, sensing. I'm focusing on scent, smell. I'm focusing on sight, like focused on a certain thing, just looking at it, not thinking, just observing, just perceiving. I'm focusing on the taste. I'm focusing on the texture. And while I'm focusing on one of these senses, I'm also focusing on sensing right here, right this spot, right now, gently, this sensation of third eye, right? And as I'm doing that, this is the bypass. Instead of focusing on the breath, which automatically switches my awareness to that, the fact that I'm breathing in a certain way and kind of trying to consciously breathe, it takes away the whole point of activating the opening of the third eye. I focus on another sense and at the same time focus on the third eye and the sensation here. And I had some interesting experiences with that. I had this feeling right here moving towards, and patience is really the game. Patience is the name of the game. Patience to things happening in a certain way. It will not be happening all at once, and it may happen all at once, but not necessarily. Like a couple days ago, I had this feeling here, and it moved towards here, and then it kind of circled this area, and then eventually it became really like pulsing at the third eye and the middle of the forehead, right at this depression here. Begin pulsing, like pow, pow, pulsing, and I really could sense the whole room, everything, all at the same time. The wind, everything. It was lined all at once. Now, focusing on just being. Just the sound of that truck. Just the color of this camera. Just the shape of this device. By the way, it's a phone. Just this smell of coconut and coconut oil, actually. And while doing that, just the sound, the feel of my voice vibrating through the vocal cords. While I'm doing that, I can feel this pressure slash tingling sensation slash pulsing, something noticeable. I can feel this area, I can feel it, I can sense it. So that's one technique. Focusing on one sensory feeling, perceive that while focusing on that. Now, there is that YouTube Indian guy that talks about close your eyes, put your fingers together in a cross, sit in a with your feet like that, crossed. Posture is everything. Sit straight. Have the tip. Now, he doesn't say that. I know that. Have the tip of your head, which is right here, not the flat part, the tip, the vertex. Have that the highest point of your body. So it will mean I will have to tilt my head a bit forward. Put my forehead, chin. Put my chin a bit down. Have this point, vertex, the highest point. Relax my neck. It may need me to twist my head, my neck, up and down. Feel it really smooth. Make sure that my shoulders are not tight, so I tied them up and I let them go. I tied them up and I let them go. I focus on every muscle from vertex, from the top of my head, from my face. If I have any muscles of my face that are tense, I will squeeze them a bit more and then relax them all. Go down deeper. If I feel anything that might be squeezed here, I will let it go. And eventually I go lower and lower, letting go, tightening it up just to know the difference, and then letting it go. And then I'll sit quietly. Stillness. Focusing on the sound, the sensory feeling of cold, heat, wind, the feeling of my clothes on my body, the feeling of my weight on the floor. Good technique is to feel not as if I'm sinking into the ground, but to feel the ground supporting me, as if the ground that I sit on pushes up towards me to connect to me, while the sky pushes down to connect to me. So the man is between heaven and earth. So that's good simulation, because it is how Chinese medicine perceives the human. We are the middle between heaven and earth. We are what connects heaven to earth. To go to an Anunnaki point of view, the earth are the apes, are the man, the caveman, and the heavens are the Anunnaki, we are this combination between these two. Being here, still, right here, right now. That's freedom. That is being free. Free of thoughts, free of emotions, just for a second. No fears exist in this moment, because fear tells us that we do not know. Fear is the messenger that comes and says, you don't know. Oh, okay. If I'm afraid that something, I'm afraid that means I don't know. I don't know that. This fear, just like infinite waters diving deep. He says that fear, F-E-A-R, represents false evidence appearing real, and I agree with that very much. In fact, that is exactly the conclusion I've came to without that initials, that fear is a messenger that tells you that you don't know, that I don't know. If I'm afraid not to be accepted to this job interview, or not to succeed in this job interview, or I'm afraid that this girl that I wanna go out with me will not agree to that, I'm actually creating a situation because I do not know, because my mind wants to be in control. So I create the first thing that comes into my mind, that is the worst thing, not the best thing, the worst thing that comes into my mind, and prepares me for the worst possibility. But do I want this possibility? No. What do I want? Well, if I don't know, that is wonderful. Not knowing is wonderful, because when you don't know, there's no limitations to what may happen when I do not know. So, fear. That's the messenger that says, you don't know. I don't know. That is great. If I have a way to find out what I don't know, I'll go and find out. But if I don't have the way, and I cannot let go of the fear, I cannot, I'm always thinking about the fear, and I try to bring myself to this moment, and I cannot do that either. Wait, back up. I went too far. Another video for emotions and the role they play in our life.